Hey, are you thinking about moving to one of Georgia's Golden Isles? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about what each island has to offer. I'm Ganton Kirby with Keller Williams Golden Isles, and today we're going to be looking at Jekyll Island, St. Simon's Island, and Sea Island, and talking about which one might be a good fit for you. So the first island we're going to talk about living on a day is St. Simon's. The first thing I would say that St. Simon's has to offer is the community feel. Big difference, big main difference between Sea Island, Jekyll, St. Simon's. St. Simon's is much more of a community. It's where you're going to find all the schools, all the kids, all the families, all the retired folks. Everybody's kind of living together. It's much more of a complete community. The next thing about St. Simon's I will talk about is it's an active lifestyle community. If you enjoy biking, walking, pickleball, tennis, surfing, sailing, skimboarding, fishing, pretty much anything to do with outdoors, you're going to have an access point to do any one of those. You have a lot of public beach accesses. You have a lot of places you can put a boat in. You have a lot of fishing piers. Pretty much everything is public, so you can get on to it and enjoy it. The next thing I would say that St. Simon's has to offer is we have a really great restaurant scene and a lot of local businesses. So, whether you want, Chick-fil-A, all the way up to a really nice steak restaurant, you're going to find it here, and everything in between. Some of the more famous spots that you might have heard of are Crab Daddy's, Crab Trap, Barrier Island Brewery. All those are what we all located in what we call Crab Corner down by the beach. And then as far as the businesses go, you have all the mom and pop businesses, but then you also have multiple grocery stores. Pretty much everything that you would need to feel like you're living in just a regular community anywhere. You just happen to be doing it on an island. St. Simon's also has a wide range of price points and neighborhoods, which makes it really nice because, whether you're looking for that kind of beginner condo in the $300,000 range, you can find it here. Or if you're looking for the full-scale luxury, spending upwards of, $3, $4, $5, $6 million, you can find that here too. So if you're looking for that, country estate or family estate, I should say, you'll find it here. If you're looking for, just a crash pad, you can find that here as well. So to wrap up the good about St. Simon's, it's really a complete community. It has everything that you would need from A to Z to, live your life here. We have tire shops here, mechanics here, grocery stores here, pharmacies here, doctors here, you name it, you can do it here. It's just that you're doing it on an island. So I would say the trade-off to living on St. Simon's is it's definitely the, busier of the three. We do have a community here, so you already have a bunch of full-time residents, just going around doing their daily lives. But then depending on the time of year, you're going to have a full-blown tourist season. So, think spring break, summer, and then any other big, holiday weekends of the year. And then these days, it's pretty much, it seems like every weekend we get a full influx of tourists. So you're going to notice that when you're on St. Simon's throughout the year. Another trade-off is there's, I would say there's a little bit of less luxury consistency here. You will have, homes along the beach, which would be, full-scale luxury, and then maybe a block off of that, you're going to have a starter condo. Whereas, some of the other islands, you would not see such a dynamic shift. Another, big thing we've kind of been watching and a lot of locals are getting irritated with is the development pressure. It seems like there's consistently a new development being built and there's no more roads being built and there's not really any space for any roads to be built. So you do have quite a bit of development pressure here that is causing it to, I don't want to say it's getting busy as like a Hilton Head, but it's definitely busy. And with the influx of tourists, it definitely gets very busy at certain parts of the year where you kind of wonder what's going on. And then another trade-off I would say is, depending on what beach you're going to, you will notice that it varies greatly with the tide. As a local, you will know where to set up your beach tent and beach chair because depending if the tide's going out or coming in, your beach chair might be underwater in 30 minutes. That also will determine which beach you might decide to go to that day. And then along with beaches is parking. All of our parking here is public. They actually don't charge to park here at the beach. But while that might be a great thing for folks visiting, if you live here, you'll notice that a lot of the parking lots do get filled up. Luckily there are some little ancillary beach spots you can go to, but it does get to be a little bit of a burden when all of the main spots are filled up and you are parking 2 or 3 blocks away, especially, if you're bringing a cooler and a few kids in tow. And then I'd say another trade-off to probably living on St. Simon's is there's less privacy because of all the public parking, because of all the public beach access, because there's no toll to get on the island. Anybody and everybody can come here and anybody and everybody does come here. That's great, but it also leads to less privacy. It also leads to more folks showing up to the beach throughout the year, more people hanging out at parking lots. While it's not necessarily a complete negative, it is a downside. So now let's dive into what life would be like living on Sea Island. This would be what we would consider the ultra luxury. The main part of Sea Island is a 5-star resort. You have to have a pass or be staying on Sea Island to even access the island. There is a gate that will prohibit you from entering. Once on the island, if you were trying to go to a beach club, which is, the club that's attached to the resort over there, you do have to be a resort guest, or you do have to be a member of the club to even access it. Once on the island, you can drive around. And believe it or not, even on the end of Sea Island, there's another private club called Ocean Forest, whereas the only golf course on Sea Island is another private club that you would need to join. And when I say ultra luxury, the starter kind of condo over there is going to be in around $2 million range. And just recently, and this is we're in December 2025, a $30 million home just sold over there, and that set the home sale record for the state of Georgia. So basically anywhere between, $2 million to $30 million is your range. I would say average wise, you're probably going to be closer to the, $5 to $10 million range if you're looking for a single family home over there, depending on what you want. Attached to the Cloister, which is the hotel on Sea Island, you do have the Cloister Residences, which are condos, and then you have Beach Club Residences, which are condos, and then Ocean Forest just built some condos as well. And all those condos work differently, but there are good options too. If you're that buyer that's looking for, a very private, exclusive lifestyle, this is great for you. You're gonna have everything that you need on the island as far as restaurants. In the Cloister, there's a couple you can go to there. The fitness center at Sea Island, there's a spa at Sea Island. You have the beach club with restaurants as well with multiple pools. So anything you want to do to live that kind of luxury lifestyle, it is there. You will have to leave the island to go to the grocery store, but it's not far. And obviously you have to leave for other routine day-to-day operations. But other than that, everything you need to live that luxury lifestyle is right there. So now let's talk about the trade-offs of living on Sea Island. Naturally, the first one is the high cost of entry. This isn't for everybody. This is for the high net folks that were lucky enough to make it, really big in life. If you don't have, millions of dollars to spend, unfortunately, you're just not going to get to live over there. It's definitely not designed for everyone, but, I don't know if everyone really wants that complete luxury private lifestyle. The other hurdle that can come along with living over there, it is very limited access. You don't just get to drive on the island. And so sometimes that can be a burden to get people over there. They usually will accommodate everything, but when you do have to go through a gate and a guard, sometimes that can lead to some issues. For the most part, it's not terrible to get on, but it's just one more hurdle that you'd want to think about before making that move. So it would be best suited to live on Sea Island. Like I kind of mentioned before, it's that person that's looking for that super luxurious second home, or that person that's looking for a very private 5-star style living experience. Now let's talk about Jekyll Island. The good thing about living on Jekyll Island is that it is very quiet. My daughter does soccer practice over there and does soccer games over there on Saturday. During the week, it's incredible. You go over there and you can walk on the beach and you might not see another person. Even when you're going on, the bike trails, you can ride around and you all of a sudden will notice looking around, no one else is there. Very, very quiet, but not exclusive because it's a public island, so anybody can come on it. Very, very peaceful and, a lot of nature. They do have a lot of bike trails, and the beaches on Jekyll do run the whole span of the island, and there are some beaches on the back side of the island as well. So depending on how quiet you want it, you can definitely find it there. That is one of the, I would say unique parts about Jekyll that is a little different than any of the other islands, is that obviously you have beaches along the ocean, but you also have beaches along the river behind Jekyll, which is pretty neat because if you don't want to deal with a strong current or waves, you can go to the beaches on the western side of the island, and you can even pull a boat up on the western side of the island. One of the famous beaches on Jekyll is Driftwood Beach. That's where a bunch of old trees have fallen along the beach. It's really kind of a tourist hotspot. And I would say another kind of neat part about Jekyll that's really cool is it's got a historic charm to it. It's protected land. You don't actually own the land when you buy a house on Jekyll Island. You own the home and you actually lease the land from the state. With that comes a lot of protections, and that's why everything looks so cohesive over there. Another good part about it is it's a little more affordable. You're not going to be spending millions of dollars to live over there. I mean, obviously you could, but you wouldn't really need to. I think, it'd be pretty easy to get over there in the $300,000 to $700,000 range, and you'd have a nice house that you could really enjoy living in, and it'd be very, very quiet. So who would be best suited to live on Jekyll Island? I would say probably somebody that's retired, because you're going to want to have extra time to go to the grocery store, but you're also not going to want to have kids over there because it's going to be a long haul to do anything. or if you're really, really in tune with nature and really want to, enjoy the long nature trails over there, enjoy quiet, walks along the beach, those are the type of folks that I think would really, really enjoy living there. So if you are thinking about moving to Georgia's Golden Isles, you will be looking at either living on Jekyll, Sea Island, or St. Simon's Island. While Georgia's coast does have a lot of barrier islands, these are the three, especially in the Golden Isles, that most people, or really everybody, does live on. A lot of the other islands are either protected or they're private. The other only main island that's habitable is Tybee Island up in Savannah, but pretty much between Savannah and here, all the islands are natural and uninhabited, which does make fun for boat rides because you can go experience beaches where you don't see anything on and it looks like it always has. So when buyers do give me a call and they ask which island they should consider, I would always start with, well, how much money do you want to spend? Because that's really going to narrow it down. But also, are you going to be living here full time? And what kind of lifestyle do you want? Is this a second home? Are you looking to vacation rental it? Any of these things would really help determine maybe which island might fit them best. Another thing you might want to consider is amenities, grocery stores, pharmacies. What level of convenience are you looking for? That would be another thing I would definitely consider. And once you've narrowed that down, then we can discuss, which island we should go take a look at. So if you are thinking about moving to the Golden Isles, I would love to be your guide. We can take a trip by boat and look at what it would look like living on each island from the ocean or the rivers. We can also drive through them and see what each island has to offer and not offer. So please make sure to like this video and subscribe in the comments below if you have anything that you want me to answer. I'm always happy to talk about what it's like living on Georgia's Golden Isles.